Hi everyone, my name is Güneş Sentürk. I am a physics instructor at HCCC. This webinar was organized by Dr. Pernice and will be co-hosted by myself, Dr. Pernice and Dr. Lee. Let me introduce our speaker, Dr. Robert Ciervo. Dr. Ciervo is the Assistant Dean for Academic Services at Rutgers School of Engineering. He will tell us about transfer opportunities to Rutgers engineering programs. We will do a Q&A at the end, but feel free to put questions in the chat box anytime. If you'd like to ask a question at the end, please raise your hand. And I would like to remind everyone that this event is being recorded. Dr. Ciervo.
Thanks, Dr. Sentürk. My name is Robert Ciervo. I'm one of the assistant deans at the Rutgers School of Engineering in the New Brunswick campus. And just going to talk to you a little bit about our school, some facts and figures about that. Then I'll talk about transfer opportunities. I'll talk about the transfer admission requirements. And I'll even show you how you can take a lot of our classes in the first year and even talk about the second year curriculum a little bit at Hudson so that you can transfer in and come in either as a sophomore or sometimes even come in as a junior into our program. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see if I can do that. All right. Let's see if this works.
All right. See your screen.
You can see that now. Okay, great. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our school. This is kind of a flyer I usually give out when I'm on campus, but also can share it virtually this way. So Rutgers School of Engineering, right now we're ranked in the top 50 in the country in terms of undergraduate engineering programs. And when you look at the top 50, about half are public research universities like Rutgers, the other half are private universities. So you have this great opportunity here in New Jersey, not far from where you live, to attend one of the premier undergraduate engineering schools in the entire country. Certainly you have your choice of where you may want to transfer to, but in terms of location and looking for a top 50 engineering school, you have to look no further than Rutgers. Additionally, when you look at the top 50, you're going to see some schools that probably you would recognize in terms of their names, like Michigan State, Penn State, Purdue, Ohio State. And these are all schools that now we're aligned with in the Big Ten Athletic Conference. So that happened, maybe about 8 years ago. And in addition to being in the same athletic conference, we're in what's called the Big Ten Academic Alliance. So our dean, our faculty members, department chairs, undergraduate directors, they're in alliance with faculty members at all these other Big Ten schools, many that are ranked in the top 50 in the country. So they're able to share research, collaborate, look at best practices, and that helps us. It helps us grow. It helps us continue to, be ranked very highly in the country. And that's what you want to look for. When you're looking for a school in terms of where you want to transfer to, you want a school that you're going to be able to graduate from that's recognizable, that employers know, not just in New Jersey, not just in the Northeast, not just in the country, but around the world. So Rutgers Engineering is well known, around the world. We have 10 different majors that you can transfer in for. So one point I always like to make when I meet with students at a school like Hudson, or whether it's Mercer, or I was at Passaic yesterday, is our transfer admission standards are the same for each one of our majors. So it's not easier to get in for one major and a little bit more difficult to get in for another. So whatever major you're really interested in, when you apply to Rutgers as a transfer student, make sure you select that major. So we have 10 different majors. We have aerospace, biomedical, chemical, civil, electrical and computer, that's 1 degree, environmental, industrial and systems, material science, mechanical engineering, and then we have applied sciences and engineering, where you can kind of custom design your own major, but also there's a packaging engineering option there. And we're one of the few schools in the entire country that has a packaging engineering program and option. A lot of students don't know anything about packaging engineering, but packaging engineers, these are the individuals that design the packages for consumer products. So if you think of a company like Colgate Palmolive, you know, they make toothpaste. Well, an engineer has to design that tube. An engineer designs the cap. An engineer designs the box that the toothpaste goes in. And if you think about some of the larger consumer product companies in the country, a lot of them are based in New Jersey. You know, Colgate Palmolive in central New Jersey, Johnson & Johnson, central New Jersey. Think about all the pharmaceutical companies. You know, all the pharmaceuticals have to come in packages, whether it's a bottle, whether it's, you know, a pill pack. And so these are all designed and manufactured by engineers, and it's kind of a niche field. So a lot of people don't think about that. You know, things like mechanical, electrical, you know, every program in the country is going to have those majors, and we have great faculty in those majors as well. And if you're interested in that, you know, certainly put that down. But just another major, you know, for you to think about. We're one of the oldest engineering schools in the country, so we started way back in 1864. And we've grown considerably. You know, one of our first buildings that we had was a building over at the College Avenue campus. It's called Murray Hall, still called Murray Hall, but we're not there now. The Department of English is there. But Murray Hall was constructed by a gift from Andrew Carnegie from the Pittsburgh area, the steel magnate, Andrew Carnegie. So we've been getting funded from all sorts of individuals throughout the years. We continue to get great funding in terms of our faculty members getting research grants. We usually average around $70 million a year in outside research funds. And why that's important for students to know is because you want to go to a school where they're doing a lot of research, because it provides opportunities for you. It provides opportunities for you to get involved in the research as an undergraduate. Maybe you're just volunteering for a semester. Maybe the next semester you're getting paid. Maybe when you graduate, that same faculty member says, hey, why don't you stay on and get a master's degree, and I'll give you a graduate assistantship, and your tuition will be free, and you get a monthly stipend. You know, so that can't happen at a school where maybe they're only getting $1 million in you know, research funds, because the money is limited. But all our departments, all our faculty members are engaged in research throughout their time here, some more than others. We've got 5 nationally recognized research centers at our school. The one I like to mention the most is the Kate Center, which is through our civil engineering program. It's a center that looks at research on infrastructure, roadway surfaces, highway traffic systems, bridge design, bridge repair. So they got their own building on campus, and they do a lot of symposium for the local municipalities in the area, for the New Jersey's Department of Transportation. Sometimes the federal Department of Transportation comes in. And so they're able to share research and then also hear what's happening out there, you know, on our roadway systems in New Jersey. How can we improve them? What can we do in terms of our civil engineering faculty members to help design better roadway systems, roadway surfaces? So this is something, again, if you're interested in civil engineering, you're interested in traffic engineering, transportation engineering, you come into Rutgers and you're going to be taught by faculty members that are not just teaching, that are also doing research to kind of help improve how traffic moves in the state of New Jersey. So if that's an interest for you, just one of many research centers that we have. Looking at starting salary, this is from a few years ago. So this is definitely a lot higher now, considering the last few years of inflation, and wage inflation is rising as well. So you're looking at around $70,000 a year for your first job in engineering if you graduate from the Rutgers School of Engineering. So when you look at other schools, find out about this. You know, what kind of facts and figures do they have in terms of engineering students getting job offers, and about what's the salary for a starting engineer graduating from their school. So we're the #1 public university in the New Jersey, New York metropolitan area for undergraduate engineering. And I also like to add on there the Philadelphia area. So I'm actually sitting in my home here in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, right across the river from Trenton. So I commute from Pennsylvania to Rutgers each day. It's about an hour. It's not too bad. But, I grew up in this area. So this is the Philadelphia metropolitan area. And I can tell you we're #1 here too, in terms of public universities. The big public university in the Philadelphia area that has engineering is Temple University. I'm a graduate from there, but I know that Rutgers is more highly ranked in engineering than Temple. So you're talking about two main cities, and what's the #1 public university in terms of engineering? And that's going to be Rutgers. We have over 28,000 alumni from the School of Engineering. That's not 28,000 Rutgers alumni. There's a lot more than that, but your focus should be on engineering if you're thinking of transferring into our school. So that just lets you know there's a lot of Rutgers engineering graduates out there working in industry. Some are out there teaching as well. Some are out there doing research. And in terms of those that are within an organization kind of at the top level, we have 1,000. 1,000 of our graduates are at the top level of their organization or company. So a little bit about our campus in terms of the School of Engineering, the undergraduate program. We're only around 4,000 students. So I know there's more than 4,000 students at Hudson. So you leave Hudson, you come to Rutgers School of Engineering, you're actually coming to a smaller school. So a lot of people are worried about Rutgers being so large, you're going to get lost, it's gigantic. Yes, there's 35,000 undergraduates at Rutgers, New Brunswick. All right, that doesn't count Rutgers Camden or Rutgers Newark. Just talking about Rutgers, New Brunswick, that's a lot of students. But when you come into our school, it shrinks, for only 4,000 students. And then it's going to shrink again, depending on your major. I mean, you come in for a small major like material science engineering, and our faculty are doing great research. They get funded by, Corning and Dow and other companies like that to do research. The material science it's really small. I mean, you might come in and in your class, like in your sophomore class or in your junior class, depending on what year you start with, there might only be 30 other students. All right. So now our biggest major is electrical engineering, but still we only graduate probably around 375, 380 students a year. So that's, it's kind of like a mid-sized high school, if you think about that. So you get to know all your classmates pretty quickly. You get to know the faculty members pretty quickly as well. We have less than 200 faculty members. But, our faculty members, again, they're out there, they're involved in professional development. 50 of them hold prestigious fellowships among international engineering societies. So that's going to be helpful if you're thinking about, going on to graduate school. You need a letter of reference. You want to get an internship. You need a letter of reference. You want to get a full-time job. They're asking for letters of reference. You want to be able to put down a faculty member that, has a nice curricula vitae, has done a lot of work in industry, in research, in teaching. That's going to be helpful because it gives you something to talk about too, because they might ask you about that faculty member and you want to be able to discuss the things that they've done, what you learned in the classroom, any work that you might have done with them outside of the classroom. That's certainly helpful. So I talked a little bit about packaging engineering. Also, we're the only public university in New Jersey that has an aerospace engineering degree. All right. So there's one other university in New Jersey that has an aerospace engineering program, and that is Princeton. All right. So good luck trying to transfer into Princeton. I know they actually did start taking transfers maybe about 4 years ago, I think. They used to never take any transfers for any major. So, but they only take about a handful of transfers. Maybe they take somebody into their aerospace engineering program once every few years. So that would be difficult if you want an aerospace engineering degree. You only have two options, and Princeton's going to be a lot more expensive than us. All right, so I'm going to scroll over to the back of this flyer that we have here. Talk a little bit about the class of 2023. So this is the class that's about to graduate in May. So this is kind of a pre-pandemic class in terms of, when they started with us. But these numbers are about the same as what we're still seeing now. We bring in about 1,000 freshmen every year. Around 30% are female students. You can see what the average mean SAT is. And an important point I like to bring up is that about 25% of our freshmen, so of those 1,000, you're looking around 250 of our freshmen come in with an 800 math SAT, right? They come in with a perfect math SAT. So I point that out to let you know that it's pretty competitive to get in as a freshman. So if you had applied to us and didn't get in, not a big deal. Maybe you didn't apply to us and your plan all along was to go to community college for 1 or 2 years and transfer, and it's a great route. So about 90% of our students come in as freshmen, and then the other 10% come in as transfers. And you might transfer as a sophomore, you might transfer as a junior. That's going to be dependent on the major you select. It's going to be dependent on what courses you completed, past the required courses in terms of admission. It'll also be dependent on, are you looking to take summer classes? Can you take summer classes? You got to take 3, maybe. So, our students, in terms of graduation rates, we have a graduation rate of 4 years that's lower than our 5-year rate. So, a 5-year rate is around 85, 86%. 4-year rates lower than that. And that's a rate for freshmen. So a good amount of our freshmen still take 5 years to graduate. And they started here with us and they can easily progress through the curriculum. So if in total it takes you 5 years to graduate, don't be worried about that, because you're going to be ending up with a professional degree. That's the main thing. And you already saw, what is a starting salary for somebody with a professional degree? That's just the average. So you can certainly exceed that number as well. But this gives you an idea of that, freshman class. So these will be the people that will be sitting around you in the classes. And so I always like to say that, like multivariable calculus, it's not any harder at Rutgers than it would be at Hudson. It could be the same exact textbook, maybe different instructors. What it might be is the grading might be different based on who's sitting around you in the classroom, because when you start to get to grading on curves, well, then who's sitting around you in the classroom can affect that. So, what I like to say is for transfer students, it's usually initially like a shock in terms of maybe the pace of the classes, the depth of the classes, and the grading. But our transfer students adjust to that pretty quickly. And our transfer students actually have a better retention rate than our freshmen. So we got all these great freshmen coming in here, but our transfer students, will have a better first year retention rate than our freshmen's first year retention rate. And that's usually because, we're able to look and see how people do in college first before we admit them. And, admitting people right out of high school, we don't have that information. We don't know how they're going to do in college. We can guess on some things like their high school rank or the high school they went to or their SAT scores. But those are all somewhat predictive. They're not actually as strongly predictive as what I can see for transfer students is something such as like, well, how did you do in calculus 2? You get an A in calculus 2, no matter where you are, you're going to graduate with an engineering degree. That's just what's going to happen, because that's an extremely tough course anywhere. So that's kind of why it's one of our courses that we require to transfer in. I talked a little bit about the research centers that we have here. We got a lot of student organizations just within the School of Engineering. So we have, over 40 student organizations just within the School of Engineering. So we have some organizations like Rutgers Formula One Racing Team, the Rutgers Solar Car Team, Engineers Without Borders for engineering students who want to get involved in charity and philanthropic endeavors in the state of New Jersey or even across the world. We have student organizations for all of the professional organizations within engineering, like IEEE is the standard professional organization for electrical and computer engineers. We got a student chapter of that. Material Advantage, we have a student chapter of, that's the main organization for material science students. We have organizations based on students' identities. We have Society of Women Engineers, a very strong chapter of that. Society of Hispanic Engineers. So all sorts of different organizations just within engineering. And then outside engineering, there's another 250 student organizations at Rutgers, New Brunswick. So I always tell our students, when you come in, get involved with at least one engineering organization, student organization, and get involved with one outside engineering, so you can meet people outside of the School of Engineering and take advantage of the large campus and all the opportunities that we have as well. We opened up a new studio project space on campus as well for students when they're looking to do kind of maybe even manufacturing work or design work for the student organization, or they're doing their senior design project and they need a space to kind of put everything out. So we have that on campus as well. So that's a little bit about our school. Let's see here. I want to switch and also then, let's see if I can do this. This should work. All right, can everyone see this Word document? I hope.
Yes.
Great, great. All right. So what this is a document showing our first year engineering curriculum. And why I always focus on the first year is because our first year curriculum is the same for all majors. Okay, so remember, I said we have 10 majors. Once it gets to the sophomore year, it's entirely different for every 10 major. So to go through every single major to take forever, and it's kind of overwhelming and just kind of like, whoa, a lot to see there. But I like to focus on the first year because at Hudson, you can pretty much do the first year in the Rutgers School of Engineering pretty easily because the classes are there. Whether it takes you a year and a summer session to do it, whether it takes you a year and a summer and another semester, I mean, that's going to be dependent on math placement. Okay, so engineering is a math-based curriculum, and everything kind of flows from math. So wherever you start in math, that's where you start, and then that's going to determine, well, how long is it going to take me to where I can finish transfer requirements or finish the first year, engineering curriculum at a school like Rutgers, or you might be looking at Penn State, you might be looking at University of Maryland. I don't know where you're looking, but check out the first year curriculum, and then. What's great about NJ transfer, that's what we have here, is if you stay in state and you're looking at a place like Rutgers, you can see exactly how things will transfer in. And we use NJ transfer to do the transfer evaluations for students that come from Hudson. So I like to actually have students look at the right side. So the right side is the Rutgers University School of Engineering. It's our freshman curriculum. So what do our students take? So we'll focus on the fall term. So they take Calculus 1. That's what they placed into. That's Math 151. They take the first half of Physics 1, which is Physics 123. They take Chemistry for Engineers with the lab. So it's two separate courses. There's General Chemistry for Engineers, and then there's Introduction to Experimentation, which is a 1-credit lab just for our engineering students. They take Introduction to Engineering, a one-credit class where they get exposed to all these different majors. So there's 10 different majors, 10 faculty members come in throughout the semester and talk about the major and go over the curriculum, because all of our freshmen come in undeclared, even though they tell us what they want. They say, I want electrical and computer. That's what I want. That's what I want. And then they meet somebody from, the biomedical engineering department, and they go, well, maybe that's what I want to do. I want to do biomedical. So then after intro engineering in the spring, that's when our students declare their actual major. They'll take basic composition if they placed into that course. That counts as a general elective for us, or if they placed into the expository writing course, they would take that there. So can you do that at Hudson? Yeah, you can. If you take Math 111, that counts as our Calculus 1. If you take Physics 111, that counts as our Physics 123 and our Physics 124. If you take College Chemistry, CHP 111, that takes care of our General Chemistry for Engineers with the lab. You take like a College Student Success course that'll take care of Intro to Engineering. Actually, even if you don't have that, we give everybody credit for Intro to Engineering because it's a course just for freshmen. It's not a course for transfer students, because transfer students, you guys will know what you want to major in because you have to put that down on your application. If you take English Composition 1 at Hudson, that counts as basic comp. So that counts as a general elective. All our majors require at least one general elective. Some require two. So it's going to count towards something in the curriculum. So then we look at the spring. What do our engineers take in the spring? Well, they take Calculus 2. All right. They might take a lower level humanities course. So I just put macroeconomics as an example. That counts as a lower level humanities course. Our students have to take two lower level humanities before they graduate, and they take two upper level before they graduate. So we always say, hey, just get one out of the way, in your first year. And so you could, any type of lower level humanities course at Hudson you could take, just make sure it shows up in NJ transfer as just an example. So they take chemistry for engineers 2, and you have a college chemistry 2 course here. They take statics. All right. You have statics, EGS 230, statics and dynamics. That will transfer into our statics class. They take expository writing, like I said, and you have English Composition 2. And then for our students that already have expository writing or freshmen, they'll take a MATLAB programming course, which isn't something that's at Hudson right now, but that could be something that you take, again, the summer session before you start. If you transfer in for the fall, we'd say, hey, take the MATLAB programming course. And that's actually a course that we offer online. We offered that online before the pandemic. And so even after the pandemic, we've kept that in place in the summer, basically for transfer students. So like if that's one class that you need and you're living, 2 hours from campus, you can take it online, and that you don't have to worry about it transferring in. It's on your Rutgers record, and you're starting in the summer. You're starting to build that Rutgers record and the Rutgers GPA. All right. So this is just showing you, hey, 32 credits, 32 credits. You can take 32 credits in the first year program at Hudson. Again, when you start talking about the second year, then we have things like multivariable calculus, differential equations, and physics 2, which are common amongst all of the majors. And those 3 classes I know are at Hudson, and I know that they're transferable. It just is what are all the other sophomore classes, and so that's going to be different based on major. Some are there, some are not there, and so you can get some of them done as well. And then it's going to be dependent on where you are and what major you select in terms of your graduation year when you transfer in. So next, I'm going to talk about the transfer admission requirements. So all these courses don't have to be done before you transfer in. Our transfer requirements are universal in that it's the same regardless of what school you go to. Even if you went to a Rutgers school, it's still the same 4 courses. You've got to finish Calc 1 and Calc 2. All right, so that's where you have to get to in math. You got to finish Physics 1 and Chemistry 1. That's it. Just those 4 courses. All right, but we're looking for a 2.75 GPA or better overall, and a 2.75 GPA or better in those 4 courses. Okay, so your cum wants to be close to a 3.0. You want to be close to a 3.0 in these 4 courses. All right, if you have those requirements, you're pretty much going to be admitted by the Office of Admissions. The only caveat to that is maybe students who failed courses. All right, so if you're failing courses, you seem to fail a course or get a D in a course every single semester, but then you were allowed to repeat it, that can be an issue because admissions wants to make sure that the 2 semesters before you start with us, you don't have any D's or F's. All right, that's one thing that they look for so that they can kind of flag an application that way. But if you go on and then you repeat those courses and get A's, get B's, B pluses, that looks good, and so you still can be admitted. It's just that might be the only hiccup. Sometimes students will say, "Look, I got the GPA, I got these 4 courses," and then they show me the transcript, and I said, "Yeah, but you failed 3 courses here, and you only repeated 1 of them." So anytime you get a D or F, if that happens, make sure you repeat the course as soon as you can, and then try to get at least another semester where you have, you're going full time and you're not getting any grades below a C. So again, this it's pretty clear, just showing you how you can transfer from Hudson, transfer into the School of Engineering, start with us. We do take spring transfers as well. Spring application for this spring's closed, but the application for fall, that will open up usually around the beginning of February. And so I tell students, try to apply by like the end of April. That's important. because we want to know by early May that you've been admitted, that you're coming, so then we can work on your transfer evaluation, and then we can assign you to a transfer orientation session on campus. We usually have 4 to 5 of those in the summer, and you want to be able to get to an early one. So the students in the early ones, we kind of put them in by majors, but also by when they confirmed their admission too. So the earlier you do that, the earlier you'll come in for a transfer advising session. Usually it'll be like late May or early June. So that's a little bit about transferring in. And then let's see here. Pull this over. One more thing I wanted to show you is our website. Let's see if I can do this. All right. So this is our main website, soe.rutgers.edu. All right. And if you come here, there's a tab for future students. You scroll down to undergraduate. You can go to transfer from outside. So this just shows you basically how to transfer in. Also talks a little bit about our advising days. And let's see here. Seems like I don't know. I'm looking. We used to have the transfer admission standards here. I don't know where they went. So somebody might be working on editing the the website here. So I apologize for that. But again, it would be listed that you need calculus 1, calculus 2, physics 1, and chemistry 1, and then in terms of the the GPA cutoff and requirements as well. So let me stop sharing that. Back here. All right, so that's everything that I wanted to go over. And then I just wanted to give time for anybody for any questions they have. So, feel free to fire away however we want to do that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ciervo. I believe Dr. Pernice has a question.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, good morning. Thank you again for this. Very, very nice. And if you can share that table where you did the comparison, we might upload that on our website too, the comparison class by class.
Yeah, I think I'll email it again, but I think I emailed that in advance.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you then. Physics 2, engineering physics 2 wasn't listed there.
Right, well, that's in the sophomore year. So that's what I was saying. So
Because
physics,
the second year, okay.
for us, some schools it might be in the first year, but for us, that's a class our sophomores take in the fall semester of the sophomore year.
Because some of our students might consider taking in the summer before coming,
They could.
And then they can transfer that too.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah,
Okay.
physics 2, calculus 3, differential equations. I know that those are transferable. I know they're listed in NJ transfer. So that's part of the sophomore year. So those are the 3 courses that are common. After that, though, it's just like every major is completely different.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Thank you.
No problem.
So I have a question. Well, maybe 2 questions. What is the average class size at Rutgers overall in engineering programs? And are most classes in person or remote or hybrid at this point?
Almost all our classes are in person. We're an in-person school. We had to adjust during the pandemic, but everything pretty much is in person. Most of our actual engineering classes do not have an online section. So we're, a full-time program. Doesn't mean students can't go part-time, but I always like to point out, like, there's no evening program. It's not like a part-time, you can do your engineering degree in the evening. You're going to take the classes when they're offered. And once you start getting into your major classes, which starts in your sophomore year, some majors is like, this is offered once a year and this is the time. And so that's when you have to take it. You'll find that anywhere. So, we have this breadth of majors, 10 majors. But again, some are bigger than others. So, it could be for mechanical, it might be, the course that you need is 4 different sessions and there's 4 different times, and that's great. So it's all going to be dependent on that. The same, the class size just varies. I mean, You take multivariable calculus. I don't know. You could have, 75, 100 students in your class. You might take, a construction engineering class in civil, and maybe it's only like 25 students or something like that. It's all going to be it's really variable. As you get further on and you're taking your major classes, they're going to be a lot smaller than something like introduction to computers for engineers, which everyone has to take. And even though there's recitation sections to make it smaller, the one lecture is going to be pretty large.
Thank you. Argenis Garcia has a question. You can unmute yourself. You are unmuted, but we can't hear you right now. You're saying
Hello?
something.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay. Mine is kind of a two-parter. One, I wanted to know if there's anything we can do besides just already reaching the requirements or meeting the requirements. And also, I want to know if, I know you said they're the same requirements for every major, but if there's a difference in acceptance regarding how popular the major already is.
There's no difference in the admission standards for any major. So regardless of how popular or unpopular it is, the same standards. And if you meet the standards, you're going to be admitted. I love that it's just kind of transparent. There's not like any kind of hidden things in the background. I just bring up the things with like D's and F's because that's just an admissions policy, and then it makes sense. Admitting a student who just got 2 D's this semester before they start with us isn't wise. They're not ready, even though they might meet the standard because they've been somewhere else for 3 years or something like that. So they got a lot of grades and a lot of credits. But if we don't want to be admitting students who just had problematic semester because the transition won't go well and it won't be wise for them. Maybe they take another semester, repeat those classes, and then it's going to be a better time for them, and they're going to be able to meet the challenge of our programs.
Lamek Niambini has a question. You can unmute yourself.
It's mostly, you probably will reiterate yourself, so I apologize in advance for that. But basically, I was planning on transferring on something like electrical and computer engineering. And my question was, I saw on your Rutgers website that electrical engineering didn't, well, I apologize, and I answered my own question. It seems yes, I did answer my own question.
Okay.
My question was originally going to be how required what's chemistry going to be, because I finished like Calc 2 and everything, and like all the other requirements and everything, and I already like registered for my classes in the second semester, and I was wondering how required, how rigid was the requirement for chemistry. And I was wondering if I could just take it over there and because I had all the credit.
Well, if I were you, if you want to transfer for the fall, I would register for it in the spring or register for it in the summer, so you have the requirements. Like if you have it registered in the summer, then when you apply and they'll see it. They'll see it on your transcript. So that's what I would suggest.
And so you would suggest take the chemistry in the summer and then.
Yeah, if you can't fit it in the spring, because if you're already would you say you already finished Calc 2 or you're going to finish Calc 2 in the spring?
No, I finished Calc 2 and I was going to take Calc 3 in the spring.
Okay. Yeah, so then if I were you, I'd put chemistry in for the spring, but for some reason you don't want to, then try to
No,
take
it's not that I didn't want to. I registered everything. I'll check if there's any available spots.
Yeah.
Everything.
It is a mission requirement, so you want to have it there so that you put yourself in the best position to be admitted.
Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. I'll probably after that I'll probably reorganize everything, and then most likely you'll see me in Rutgers by hopefully you'll see me in Rutgers by 2023.
Fall 2023. We'll see you in the summer. Sounds good.
There are a few questions in the chat box. One question is, are there any possibilities for scholarship monies?
Well, whatever type of scholarships you can get on the outside, certainly, apply for them. I know there's all sorts of scholarships out there, scholarship websites you can look at. Your financial aid, whatever kind of financial aid you're getting now, I would assume it'll be similar at Rutgers in terms of, federal financial aid, state financial aid, state grants, federal loans, all that should be similar based on kind of your FAFSA. In terms of merit scholarships, there's no merit scholarships for transfer students within our school. And you'll find that at any kind of large research university. Unfortunately, all this merit scholarship money goes to get freshmen. And so 90% of our students are freshmen. That's kind of where the money goes. We do have a small pool of money aside for continuing students. Okay, so you'll be a continuing student after you're with us for a year. And then you can apply for that type of merit aid. So that's what we reserve it for students who didn't get merit aid when they came out of high school, which is plenty of students who transferred in, who obviously didn't get merit aid as well. So based on your academic performance at Rutgers, then there's a potential to earn merit scholarship through Rutgers School of Engineering. And at Rutgers, it's all the schools that give that type of merit aid. And then the financial aid office, they're just, going by the different, all the different state programs and federal programs, whether it's federal work study or Pell grants or the TAG grant in New Jersey. I mean, there's all these ways to get funding. So it's not like, you have to get a scholarship to pay for $17,000 worth of tuition. I mean, again, you kind of can see what you're getting now because you're at a New Jersey institution that participates in those state programs and those federal programs.
Valdemar Fernandez Ferraro is asking, what is the policy for reverse credits? I see that you have also raised your hand, so you can unmute yourself if you have any additional questions.
Yeah, reverse transfer, something I should have mentioned. Certainly, if you come to us before you finish an associate's degree, then you're going to take classes towards your bachelor's degree at Rutgers, and then you would just work with your advisor at Hudson and the registrar's office there to transfer back. Maybe you're transferring back Calc 3 and differential equations and mechanics and materials and dynamics and a whole ton of other courses. So you wind up transferring back and easily have the 60 credits or 66 credits, whatever it is at your school that you need to get an associate's in science, and then you get your associate's that way, and then you're going to get your bachelor's degree with us. So again, we don't have any requirement you need to finish an associate's first. Some schools have that. We don't have that. It also does not affect your transfer evaluation as well. Some schools have that. Like if you're an associate, you get X amount of credits. If you don't, then you don't get, I don't know, you only get 60 credits or something like that. We transfer in the credits as they are approved in NJ transfer. So whatever you take, if it's approved in NJ transfer, we will transfer it in so long as it applies to your program. Obviously, if you take like 12 humanities, social science electives there, we're not going to transfer them all in because we only need 4, okay, for you to graduate. So we make the transfer evaluation as transparent as possible so you can see how much of your degree program you have already completed and how much of your degree program you still need to take at Rutgers.
One more question. The classes is in New Brunswick, right?
Yes, the Rutgers School of Engineering is at the New Brunswick campus. Our offices and many of our classrooms are actually in Piscataway, New Jersey, right across the river, but it's still the Rutgers New Brunswick campus.
How many classes I can possibly took in the summer in New Brunswick? No more than 12, right? Great.
3 classes, no more than 10 credits.
3 classes, 9 credits. Okay.
Yeah, 3 classes, 10 credits. That's the maximum for summer.
One more question. For mechanical engineer, you have a master combining a program package or no?
We do have a BS MS program. That's something that students apply for after their junior year is completed. So in the before the summer starts of their junior year, they turn in an application. Those applications are reviewed in the summer, and then students that are admitted, they're told, late summer, you're in this BSMS program, And the advantage is that you can take 4 graduate classes before you graduate, and then you're only paying the undergraduate tuition rate for those 4 grad classes. And then when you graduate, you're 4 classes into your master's program as well. And then however long it takes you to finish, your master's program. But that's the advantage there. And so nobody can transfer into that program. Freshmen can't get into it. It's something we want to see. Well, how are students doing at the Rutgers School of Engineering? What's their GPA? That basically determines will we let them take grad classes before they finish.
All right, thank you so much.
No problem.
There's one more question. Two more questions. One question is, there's feedback from someone. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Hopefully it's not me.
I don't think. Maybe. Okay, well. So one question is, what internship programs are there for electrical engineers?
Yeah, so our engineering students, they can certainly do internships if they so desire. They'd work with the Career Services Office to find employers looking to hire interns. They can apply through what's called the handshake application that our office has. And then if they want to, they can ask the undergraduate director to approve that internship as 3 credits, and they would register for the credits while they're doing the internship. So it's going to be like a full-time internship. Well, then you probably want to do that in the summer, and then you register for the credits in the summer and pay for the tuition that way. And then those 3 credits can count as one of your technical electives. All the majors require at least 1 technical elective. Some have 2, some have 3, some have 4. It's going to be dependent on major. I think electrical has 2. So you can take classes that are on the tech elective list, or you could do an internship, register for the credits once they're approved by the undergraduate director, and then that counts towards your degree. We don't require internships, so nobody has to do one, but certainly the availability is there. And talking to a faculty member, the undergraduate director, you can find out where do ECE students tend to get these internships, what are good companies to look for, how should I apply, when should I apply. It's all going to be dependent on what major you are, and that's why having that good conversation with the undergraduate director is helpful. And we invite all the undergraduate directors to come to those transfer advising sessions for our admitted transfer students. So you get to meet them right away, either meet them or their assistant, and you get that connection, right away as you come into our school. Yeah, good question.
Yes, I have a question. Can some of our scholarship transferable to Rutgers University because we applied for the grant together, such as the B2B scholarship and the STEM scholarship?
Yeah, I don't know about scholarships transferring. I know there, I always say that there's no scholarship money for transfers. There's one very small transfer scholarship. And I don't even remember what it's like, Phi Beta Sigma or something. I can't even remember what it is, but you have to be in this program at the community college that you're at, and you got to have like a 3.9 GPA or something like that. But so admissions always talks about that. They'll tell students whether they're eligible for that. I tend to not mention it because I don't even know if I've ever had a student come in for that. Maybe one or something like that. So unfortunately, that's just kind of a Rutgers policy. So. But a scholarship that, let's say, an institution, whether it's Hudson, whether it's Princeton, whether it's Ohio State, I mean, that's all going to be institutional aid. So institutional aid doesn't transfer with you when you leave one institution to go to the other. What you'll get is like whatever you're getting from the federal government. Again, if you have a work study job, you qualify for work study. So then you come to Rutgers, financial aid will say, hey, you qualify for work study. You can get a work study job. Or if you have a Pell Grant, it's $4,500 or something like that. You're going to have that same Pell Grant money if you come to Rutgers. Or if you're New Jersey and you have, TAG, it's going to be the same. So certainly tuition's more. Yeah, is the tuition more at Rutgers than Hudson? Yeah, definitely. But it's like $17,000. You want to go to like Delaware, or you want to go to Maryland or you want to go to Penn State, well, now you're talking about $35,000 in tuition. So it's all about, what's your options. And if you live in New Jersey, we're the cheapest option to graduate from like a Carnegie One research university with an engineering degree.
There's a comment from Linda Armas that I'm going to read for everyone. If you look for the funding for New Jersey residents, there are many programs to help cover you under a certain income. It is possible to get full coverage for a minimal cost by the time you graduate. Rutgers is great at helping you with advisors. You can give them a call. Thank you for that. Any other questions?
Yeah, anything else? I'm sorry, I'm not a financial aid expert. I know a little bit. I guess a little bit to be dangerous. So I try not to, our financial aid office, once you're in, they'll definitely let you know exactly what you qualify for. And then, like I said, our school, we have that pool of money for continuing students. And I know our transfer students that do well, they apply for it and they get additional funding as well. Yeah, the last point I'd say on that is I know there are some schools that give transfer scholarships. They might give you like $4,000, $5,000 or something like that. Just look at, well, what does that represent in terms of what the total tuition is? That's one thing. And then also look at the ranking as well. That's the other thing, because you want to compare apples to apples. So, Penn State's going to give you $5,000. Well, that's great. Now your tuition's $30,000 instead of $17,000. So that becomes the difference. Or, Drexel wants to give you $10,000. Well, I used to work at Drexel. It's like $48,000 a year in tuition. You got to go 5 years. So always look apples to apples. A lot of times people say, well, you're not giving me anything. I'm going to go here because they're giving me $2,000, So make sure, do your math and make sure it's the best bargain for you. And you can find a better bargain, go, it's great. But then again, look at what's the ranking of that school, because that's going to be your diploma for the rest of your life. So you can bank on Rutgers, maybe some years we're not in the top 50, maybe we're in the top 60 or something, or maybe 10 years from now we're in the top 35, so that's something you want to think about long-term in terms of your own degree.
I believe this is all the questions that we have. Once again, thank you so much, Dr. Ciervo, for all this great information.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining. Everyone, have a great rest of your day.
Great. Thanks, guys. Thanks again for the opportunity. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you all. Bye.
Next.